As you guys on the channel have seen, lately I've been taking my shooting and my rifle building to the next level. Gavin Gear here from UltimateReloader.com. You're going to want to check out my last video, which was my concrete bench and some of the shooting range improvements that I've made at the top of the hill. To complement the concrete shooting bench, I have now put together what I consider to be a great support system for shooting very, very accurate groups. When I'm shooting to produce stories and test results, I really want to separate myself, the shooter, from the potential of the ammo itself and the accuracy of the rifle. And having a competition-oriented bench rest quality front rest and rear rest is a key part of that value proposition. So in this video, I'm going to give you a quick look and kind of an overall overview of the Sinclair competition shooting rest. It's available in two different models, a fixed windage model if you're going to control windage with your rear rest. This is the windage adjustable model. This thing is built like a tank. It's steel base, solid steel base, weighs 30 pounds itself. It's really, really hefty. And when I took a look at what I was looking for in a shooting rest, I wanted first and foremost something that was locked down and high quality. I could not afford any movement at all. I've had competition style front rests before, and none of them really met the expectations or the requirements, I should say, that I have for this level of shooting that I'm doing now. Very, very solidly constructed, very much locked down. I wanted adjustable windage and adjustable elevation. Obviously, any competition rest has that, because I really wanted to get the rifle settled in, establish natural point of aim. In other words, crosshairs exactly centered on that target dot, and then go ahead and fire the rifle the same way every time. I felt like if I could get that kind of setup put in place, that my shooting would be a lot better, and it already has been a lot better. So in terms of features, like I said, this has got a solid steel base that weighs 30 pounds, so it's over 30 pounds for the entire assembly. It is absolutely massive. It's got 3 screws, so the front 2 screws, there's lock nuts here, and what you can do is retract all 3, put it on the bench, get it where you want it, and then lift it up off the bench and level it with these front 2 feet. And when those 2 feet, which have spikes on the end, as they should, are appropriately adjusted, the frame of the rest is up off the table and the rest is level, then we can lock them down with these lock nuts. In the rear, we have a different type of screw assembly. This is called the speed screw. It is adjustable for height, but then we're going to use it to control elevation as well. This particular rest has 3 forms of elevation control: coarse, medium, and fine. On the coarse side, you can loosen the column and lift the entire column up and down. That's a way to get close. Then you can unlock the hand wheel. The hand wheel gives you a finer level of control over elevation. And then the speed screw is what you're going to do to kind of dial things into exactly where you want to be on elevation. So 3 different types of elevation control. This model uses dual tapered roller bearings for the windage control, and there is 0 slop in it. The rifle absolutely does not move side to side as long as your front bag is contoured appropriately for the forend on your stock. There is a forend stop here, and it's kind of a quick adjust model. You can get it right out of the way. I was using it that way for one of the ARs that I was testing with this. And then when you loosen the lock nut, it can be adjusted for length. It can be adjusted for height, and that can be locked. And then when it's locked in, you have whatever forward position you want, and you can also cant it off to the side, kind of adjust it however you want. And that's critical because every time the rifle recoils back, you want it to reset to the same exact place every time. Same thing happening in the front, same thing happening in the back, same thing happening with the shooter, and that's going to help you really remove some of those support-based variables from your shooting. There's also some holes on the base that are for accessories. The Sinclair does sell accessories. We've got our adjustable sides for the back bag up here, the front bag. This was another thing that I liked about this particular rest, is that it works with Protector model front bags or with the Edgewood front bags. The bags that are about 2 1/4 wide and 5 1/2 inches long are going to pop right into the top there. I also plan to make some custom bags and support systems for the front here based on specific issues and profiles I have for different types of forends on rifles that I'm shooting with. So far shooting with this rest, it's really made a big difference, not only in the results that I've gotten. You're going to want to check out my 6-dasher initial load development video. I put 5 shots into the zeros, right? It's less than 1/10 of an inch group, approximately 0.090. Let me show you that clip real quick. So I was very happy with that result. That's the best 5-shot group I've shot with a rifle that I've built. Best probably 5-shot group that I've shot, period, because I haven't had this kind of equipment. And I don't think that would have happened had I not had this particular setup. Now, you notice in that group, most of the variation, most of the shot dispersion was vertical. And my thinking is, if I didn't have a sloped buttstock or had a different style of bag rider attached, I probably would have even tightened that up further. So the results are one thing, but also there's the efficiency and the experience of shooting. Shooting with a rest system like this from my new concrete bench is absolutely taking things to the next level. I can attach a chronograph and shoot very precise groups, get my velocity data, get my accuracy data, and to do so from a comfortable standpoint. Very, very enjoyable to shoot from the bench like that. That does not replace the other modes of shooting. I think of shooting kind of in 3 modes. The bench rest, isolating the shooter from the equation as much as possible. Controlled prone field shooting, which would be you've got a bipod, you've got a rear bag, and you're laying down. Things are pretty solid, but you've got a little bit more variables with the bipod and whatever you're laying on. And then there's practical field shooting, which could be PRS style shooting or hunting off of the hillside in the field, coyote hunting, prairie dog hunting, whatever. And so I want to show and I want to do all of those different styles of shooting here on the channel myself personally, but this really enables me to fully pursue the accuracy angle and remove those variables. I'm also using the Protector model rear bag. This is not an expensive rear bag. I think this is about $35, $40, under $50, but it works really well. It's made out of leather. It's made in the USA. You can apply sideward pressure here to kind of clamp down the ears on your buttstock, and it's very, very flat on the bottom. Those are all things that I'm looking for in a shooting bag. The Protector model front bag here, this is about a 2.5 inch width. I've also got this one, which is the number 1F, the small, and this is going to be more for sporterized stocks. For testing other styles or rifles that have an ARCA rail on them, I'm going to fabricate bag rider adapters. So I'll have an ARCA, potentially an M-LOK, and maybe others, so that I can quickly attach the bag rider, put it into a standard front bag that I use, and have the advantages of this setup. So that's a basic summary of the Sinclair Competition Shooting Rest. A couple more things. First, cost. This is not an inexpensive shooting rest. Last I looked, it was about $650 for the rest alone. That does not include the front bag. The good news is the bags are not expensive. I think this Protector model front bag was about $25, $30, something like that. You might need fill media, depending. They're available either empty or filled with sand and other media. But if you look at the cost continuum for a real competition-oriented shooting rest, this is actually on the lower side of that spectrum. So I really do feel like it represents a solid value. If you want the quality, if you want the results, you've got to spend the money. It's just like a high-quality optic. This Leupold Mark V, it works every time, but you got to spend the money to get it. Now, general pros and cons. Pros for this particular rest. It is very well constructed. It's very well thought out. I love the coarse, medium, and fine elevation adjustments. I love the smoothness of the windage adjustment. That windage adjustment and the speed screw for the fine elevation adjustment are smooth. They stop where they stop. They stay there. They hold the rifle's natural point of aim. Exactly what I was looking for. Ambidextrous controls. You can move these knobs to either side, and that helps for left-handed shooters, right-handed shooters. It doesn't matter. I love the forend stop. I love how it works. I love how quickly it is to adjust. These tensioners for the side of the front bag are really nice to bring in just the right amount of pressure. You got to get the rifle seated firmly in the front bag and the rear bag so that it's settled into place, and will do the same thing every time. In terms of cons for this particular rest, there were a couple things. One was, from the Sinclair website, I found it difficult to find specifically which bags would work, this 2¼ by 5½ size. And it seemed like, to put those dimensions in there would be really easy to do for that Edgewood and Protector model, for instance, compatibility. Also, the instructions were heavy on words and light on pictures, and I was confused a couple times and had to look at things a little bit. So for Sinclair, if they included more pictures, if they had an official setup video, that would be really helpful. I saw 2 product overviews, one from Sinclair, one from Brownells. So at this point, those are really the only cons that I can come up with, because this rest has really done great things for me, and I really like how it works. When I'm done using it, at the end of the day, I retract the speed screw in the 2 front feet. That brings those spikes up off the table, and then I can put it into the compartment that I'm using, or the case that I'm using, to haul it up and down to the mountain to my range. So I'm very happy. If you're looking for a really serious, high quality front rest for F-class, for bench rest, for testing and evaluation like I use it for, this would definitely be a rest worth looking at. And you're going to see this show up in more videos. Make sure you're subscribed with notifications, because I've got a lot more testing and evaluation that's going to use this particular rest. And check out my concrete bench story, because it's kind of a complement to this post. So my big question is, what do you think? Are you looking for a high quality rest? Drop a comment. Let's start a discussion. Are you an actual F-class or bench rest competitor? I would love to hear what you look for in a rest, what you're using, why you're using it. Again, drop a comment and we'll start a discussion. Now, don't forget, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. I really appreciate you all. I got Ultimate Reloader shirts at the Ultimate Reloader store. I'm on Patreon. I got that first link in the video description, links to an article with a lot more detail and pictures, links to product pages. Till next time, happy shooting and happy reloading.